body of a security guard of Iflock Pasture, West Coast, Demerara, has been found at the Two Brothers rice mill at Virgin Eugen, where he was employed. Reports are that the body of 49-year-old Jamaluddin Bash was discovered around 7:15 hours on Tuesday. The police are awaiting the results of the post-mortem. Meanwhile, the police are investigating the suspected murder of Carpenter Edwin Metawarian of Owen Street, Kitty, Georgetown, who died at the Georgetown Public Hospital on Monday. Investigations so far reveal that the man was involved in an altercation with another man at Stewartville, West Coast, Demerara, where he was reportedly stabbed in the chest on November 6. The suspect is in police custody. Thanks for staying with the NCN 6 o'clock news. Government and Conservation International are conducting a feasibility study on the opportunities for compensation-based mechanism for Guyana's standing rainforests. Speaking at a briefing on the IDB-funded project, Agriculture Minister Robert Persaud highlighted the urgency of this initiative. More in this Shardalal report.
Calls for market-based mechanisms to reward avoided deforestation and sustainable management policies have been met with resistance. Instead, there are only mechanisms that offer incentives for reforestation and rehabilitation of degraded areas, a move which has been criticized by Agriculture Minister Robert Persaud. He notes that the few schemes which offer recognition for Guyana's efforts are either too complex or inadequately funded. Recently, Guyana received funding from the World Bank's Forest Carbon Partnership Facility to prepare a mechanism readiness plan. In this regard, government has partnered with Conservation International to undertake a feasibility study titled Biodiversity, Mainstreaming Through Avoided Deforestation, and the minister is hopeful that it bears fruit.
All these steps, all these interventions will certainly lift our profile and even help Guyana's case in terms of advancing the position for some form of mechanism to compensate for the role of standing forests in mitigating climate change, and also to duly recognize the contribution that countries such as ours, who put a lot of emphasis on sustainable forest management, that there are some rewards for that.
He has highlighted the importance of practices which are consistent and compatible with international standards.
The point is that we are doing a lot of work internally, preparing ourselves to ensuring that at the end of the day, the issues and the management and the leadership of these important topics are given due attention, and certainly the inputs and support that we get from projects such as these do help us along the way in ensuring we fulfill our national mandate.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the National Climate Change Committee, Sham Nokta, believes that the study will establish a foundation for the transition process.
Even as we move forward with readiness planning, as we move forward to look at opportunities from REDD, we recognize that Guyana's special circumstances. Perhaps we need to look at REDD plus something more. And this project will be able to give us, from a technical sense, and also coming up with real numbers, real values, some of the considerations that we need to take on board.
He notes, however, that the study will have to assess several factors, including carbon stock, institutional and policy enabling mechanisms, and financial potential to ensure that Guyana receives substantial benefits. Reporting for the 6 o'clock news, I'm Shardalal.
The Guyana Revenue Authority has called on the public to provide them with information to stop the smuggling and sale of firecrackers and other explosives. According to a GRA release, the Guyana Defense Force is the only agency authorized to import firecrackers and other explosives. The release added that the penalty for using the illegal item is a fine or imprisonment of 1 to 3 years. This warning comes in the wake of the squib throwing incident in Alexander Village on the Pauli night. The captain of the United States warship that is in Guyana is dismissing claims that the ship is a response to military activities between Russia and Venezuela later this month. The USS Kearsarge is currently in Guyana providing medical and engineering assistance to several hinterland communities. Edward Lane reports.
In light of the long-standing controversy between the United States and the Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez, the President of the Bolivarian Republic is keeping no options open for a possible attack on his country by the United States, and with the presence of a U.S. warship in the Caribbean and military activities between Venezuela and Russia nearing, the question is once again being asked whether the ship is a response to the military activities. But Commander of the USS Kearsarge, Captain Fernand Pons, says the ship is here to provide medical and construction assistance.
This mission is all about humanitarian assistance. There is nothing else other than that about this mission.
The commander says the Six Nation medical mission in the Caribbean is not a response to Russian military maneuvers due to take place off Venezuela later this month. Pons says he is aware the Russians are coming into this area, but there is no nexus between the mission and their arrival. The 844-foot-long Kearsarge left Virginia early August and is now in Guyana, providing medical and veterinary treatment following similar exercises in Nicaragua, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Haiti, and Trinidad and Tobago. Asked whether the vessel's visit was part of U.S. foreign policy and public diplomacy efforts, Pons emphasized that his focus is only on humanitarian assistance. He noted that the mission is about goodwill and helping people, nothing else. Russia's nuclear-powered missile cruiser, the Northern Fleet flagship, along with an anti-submarine ship and support vessels will visit Caracas in November for international exercises. These include joint drills with the Venezuelan Navy in Venezuelan and international waters. There were concerns raised by the Venezuelan authorities regarding the route used by the ship, which they say is very close to the Venezuelan border, and is of the opinion it may be a spy ship. According to officials in neighboring Venezuela, that country is keeping a close eye on the activities of the USS Kearsarge during its stay in the region. Edward Lane, the 6 o'clock news.
Chief Planning Officer within the Ministry of Education, Evelyn Hamilton, says the number of school dropouts is decreasing. In an invited comment, Hamilton said that while the focus is on the problem, many have failed to recognize that there is an improvement. She also noted that the ministry has implemented a fast-track initiative that has contributed to a rise in school attendance of primary school children. Recently, there were reports that there is a higher level of school dropouts in the hinterland regions of Guyana. The Mayor and City Council has begun an intense discussion about the city's budget for next year. Public Relations Officer Mr. Royston King says the Financial Committee is currently considering 2009 revenue and expenditure estimates with a close eye on aggressive revenue collection. Joselle Archibald has the details.
Managers of each department at City Hall were all in closed-door meeting yesterday to discuss the Council's budget for 2009. This was confirmed by the Council's Public Relations Officer, Mr. Royston King, in an interview with this newscast.
We're trying to strike a good balance between the rates and taxes people pay and the amount of services we can actually provide, services and facilities we can actually provide for the city and its various local communities.
Mr. King says he cannot disclose the amount they will declare for next year, but is appealing to government to assist them with revaluation of taxes in the city.
We are trying to move aggressively to collect all of our outstanding monies from defaulters, and we're looking at the valuation role from government. We're asking government to consider it one more time and to help us with the valuation role, that it should be made available to us so that we can get on with collecting our rates to improve conditions in the city.
Last year, the municipality had their budget at an amount of $1.6 billion to manage the city, which was evidently inadequate. The municipality has been in financial constraints for a while, with city markets deteriorating and nothing being done. City Hall is under investigation by the Auditor's General Office after they found irregularities into the financial matters of the council, and 2 senior officials were sent on leave. The council has fresh hopes of achieving more money this time around, as it feels that with this they can better manage the city. A campaign has since been launched to deal with collection of taxes in the city. For the NCN 6 o'clock news, I am Joselle Archibald.